Hello guys, my name is Dean, aka the Blue Crusader, and welcome back to the channel. With popular demand from subscribers, I've decided to bring back Star Wars lore videos, starting off with a fan fiction of sorts, answering one of the more popular fan questions. What if Anakin Skywalker killed Obi-Wan Kenobi and never got burned on Mustafar in the duel of the fates between both Jedi? In this alternative narrative, I explore my personal view about what could have happened if things had gone a little differently. This is simply a fan piece and not official, meaning if you have a different view about what would have happened that might be better, please let me know your views and stories in the comments below. Without further ado, let's begin. Upon the lava planet of Mustafar, two Jedi faced off, both master and apprentice. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker. Anakin had been corrupted by the manipulation of Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, aka the Dark Lord Darth Sidious, whom had been hiding in plain sight within the Republic for many years, playing with the affairs as a puppet master. Every event had come down to this moment. Anakin had already done the unthinkable. He had already ransacked and raided the Jedi Temple, and he already knew there was no going back from that. He felt remorse, anger, fear, and now also hatred brewing. He somersaulted backward, a fight ensuing between both the former allies. He knew to save Padme this was the only way, something that's been planted as a seed in his mind by Palpatine to sway him to the dark side. The two Jedi fought, with Obi-Wan holding back, desperately trying to redeem his apprentice. It brought him great pain to even think of having to do this. His worst fear and greatest failure had become realised. Seconds felt like hours as their lightsabers clashed, with fewer words being exchanged and the heat turning up. Obi-Wan had failed. The duel was clearly coming to a close. There wasn't much further to run. He landed on an embankment of charred ground.
Over Anakin! I have the high ground!
Anakin responded foolhardily.
You underestimate my power!
Obi-Wan knew his confidence was misplaced and he was about to do something that he didn't want to do, but something that needed to be done. Anakin dived into the air toward him, and Obi-Wan, tormented by the choice he had made, swung his lightsaber a moment too early, allowing Anakin to get the drop on him from behind. Before Kenobi could turn around to counter-strike, it was too late. Anakin plunged his lightsaber through him and he fell to the ground. Anakin kicked his body down the hill without a second thought, leaving a dead Obi-Wan possibly to burn. Sidious was now dead also. Anakin had become wiser. He learned to depend on Sidious, but through the dark side he could find the answers and secrets to what he desired, and Palpatine, whom couldn't provide such answers, was no longer of use to Anakin. Anakin, in this timeline, had succeeded. His body was not broken and his mind was not a wreck from his broken body, although he would still be tormented by visions of what he had done for years to come. But there would be no redemption from Sith to Jedi. Anakin completed his full transition to the dark side, or so it would seem, but without the whisper in his ear of Palpatine manipulating him, he would learn to follow his own path. Without needing a suit to preserve his life, one with such poor outdated technology at that would have caused him to be weak, he didn't need Sidious. Sure, he still had a cybernetic limb from his duel with Count Dooku upon Geonosis, but his full potential was unhindered and he would come to full power as he would learn more about the Force. The words that Sidious had previously spoken to Yoda, "Darth Vader will become more powerful than either of us," had ringed true. Immediately after Mustafar, Anakin took Padme to the medical bay, healing her wounds and bringing her back to vitality and full health. The twins were born, whom they named Luke and Leia. Anakin explained what had happened on Mustafar, and how he had put an end to the manipulative Sidious, and how Obi-Wan was a casualty and collateral damage of such affairs and manipulation, and his transition to the dark side. Padme would give Anakin an ultimatum, and through many painstaking months would bring him to learn from his mistakes and see what he had truly done, as he was clouded by the dark side. She would steer him away from the dark side, as losing her was the catalyst for his initial fall from grace as a Jedi. Anakin, through persistence and love and family, would learn to abandon his mantles of Sith and Jedi. He learned a way to embody both ways of the Force, through both light and dark, and through his years of deep studying, he would come to learn more of both sides, causing him to use both variations in a balanced form, steering from corruption, but neither being a Jedi also. Anakin would create his own new order, with Padme to guide him, Leading a new republic, Padme's fondness of old ways and her strength of politics would be fitting. Although the New Republic would be different, and Anakin would explain of how Chancellor Palpatine's corruption led to such foul events, and that the Jedi's lack of focus and awareness also led to their downfall, and that going forwards, the New Republic would be built upon completely new ways and new means. With both sides of the Force to guide him and balancing his wife and family, Anakin would become the most powerful Force user in the galaxy, limitless and reaching his potential as the Chosen One, and seeing a form of redemption in himself, but still through a slow process. Luke and Leia would be trained in part by Anakin himself personally in both light and dark, similar to Dark Jedi, and be his personal enforcers, which also were very similar to neutral versions of how the Sith Inquisitors were in Star Wars Rebels. They would track down the surviving Jedi, who would be bended to their will to join the New Order behind the New Republic, or be killed if they grasped onto their old ways. The Jedi Order was faltered, and even those who could not abandon it would have to go, and plus, if they had foul intent, they could easily expose the Marcher and the Jedi Temple that Anakin had been a part of before. Anakin would use the old Jedi Temple as his base of operations, with himself being a Grand Master of sorts, and of course, although he wasn't a Sith, he still held past grudges and some dismay about the Jedi not allowing him to be a Master or to be on the Council, so he would see a lot of fulfillment being in charge. Padme and his children would hold influence upon him, although there would not be a council like the Jedi had previously. The place would have a redesign, and the number of Force users would be lesser and to a minimum, with primarily the clone troopers being heavily utilised for protection, and very few old Jedi being trained as new Temple Guardians to guard the holocrons and secrets of Anakin's new order, as well as the previous Jedi library. Those who had seen Anakin at the Temple slaying Jedi would be slain to prevent public outcry. The general public knew of Jedi and Palpatine, but Anakin would work hard to protect the secret of his involvement in the Sith plot. Anakin's order would be a family rule similar to the Force entities known as the Wands, and the Skywalkers would all reach extreme potential, with Padme working to keep the peace and hold everything together, and their immense power and success keeping peace with the public. Master Yoda would never be discovered on Dagobah, and would not find an ally in Luke, nor see the creation of a rebellion, as the New Republic and Skywalker Order would operate very differently to the Emperor's Empire. Yoda would still be tormented about the past, and he would still hold his grudges to Skywalker and how the Jedi Order fell, but his visions of how much worse things would have been with the Emperor in charge would have left him content enough in his later years before his death alone. Ahsoka would eventually return to Coruscant after the events of the Jedi Purge and Order 66, some years around the time of A New Hope's placement in the original timeline. Anakin would welcome her back with open arms, entrusting her with some of his secrets and bringing her into his inner circle. Remember, Ahsoka's confrontation of Darth Vader in Rebels was a very different situation, seeing as Darth Vader was a Sith, and also Anakin's face was completely hidden and he was deeply corrupted. This situation would be a lot different in this story. Ahsoka in the Rebels lore was similar to this version of Anakin in my story, as she wasn't a Jedi or Sith, and this is where Anakin and Ahsoka could see things on the same level, on similar ground, and be allies and friends once more, and Ahsoka would be another good influence upon Anakin. Anakin would be tormented by what he had done, but he would be redeemed by his family and friends, which would be a support system to stop him from going too far from one side, more specifically towards the dark side, and he would work to do good to make up for the bad. Anakin knew that having a balance between both sides of both light and dark was the only way to kill corruption and abolish both ancient Force orders of the Sith and Jedi completely. Although he's centered in the middle as more of a balance and definitely a neutral force in this version of the story, he would not really go too far in order to be trying to be good, but he would definitely try to correct some of his past mistakes by doing some choices that would be good. This was my version of how things would have gone. Some of these events are far-fetched and unrealistic, I understand, but I wanted to write a different narrative to others. Most of the other fanfictions and videos on this question have all ended with Anakin becoming an all-powerful Sith Lord and not being redeemed due to embracing his own twins and due to the nature of the story. However, I wanted to base a story upon Anakin still being redeemed by Padme and family in this situation, and still having deep regret for his terrible actions, but managing to go to a balance and towards the light, making mistakes and still being slow to be redeemed, but defeating the Emperor being the first catalyst for his redemption, because in my version of this story, Anakin defeats the Emperor on Mustafar. I still wanted to show that Anakin could have a redemption story and a redemption arc, even if we wrote things a little bit differently. If you think I'm wrong and you have a much better story, because I know a lot of people disagree with this completely different fan story, then please post your fanfictions below in the comments, or instead of disliking, post your opinion of how this would have gone in your head, or tell me your custom stories in the comment section below, because I really want to know what ideas you guys, the fans, have. And if you enjoyed this Star Wars video and you want to see more, then please like the video and subscribe to the channel with notifications on by clicking the bell so you don't miss out on awesome daily gaming videos and Star Wars lore videos. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next time.